Alrighty. Well, welcome to Real Fridays. For some reason, my LinkedIn is still not connected, and I'm going to. Actually, I'm not live yet. That's click here to reconnect.
Says live. I think we're live.
Let me just see if I want to make sure I'm connected to LinkedIn here. Is it because I'm getting this error message? I'd like to allow LinkedIn. All right, good. Now I'm going live. Good. Okay, now it says that I'm live. We're live. It looks like we're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. This is Real Fridays. We get together Real Fridays with Roque, Cassidy, and Jeremy Potter every Friday at 12:30, and we talk real talk about the mortgage business. And the idea is to be as unscripted, uncensored as we prudently possibly can. But the benefit of all of us being, with what we do is that we're very much in the trenches. We're very much connected to the heartbeat and sort of the velocity of what's happening in the business, both from a technology standpoint, from a deal acquisition standpoint, and just an overall where the industry and the housing trends are going, right? So Jeremy's on a plane. He's been traveling today, but we were fortunate enough to ask Jeff Walton, one of the founders at InGenius, to join us. So we're super excited to have you on the call here, Jeff.
Good to be here. Good to be actually live.
Yeah. No, and where do you live, Jeff? Are you in Colorado?
No, I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay. So you just decided to sort of retire there early before you were retired. It seems like everybody goes there to retire.
I suppose so. I moved here with my parents, 1963.
Oh my God! So you're a rare bird.
Yeah.
So you're a rare bird in Scottsdale. It seems like everybody else is not from there.
There was, I think, like 500,000 people in Maricopa County. Then now there's, 5 million people.
That's incredible.
10x over that time, and seen all that growth, and it is pretty incredible.
So have you ever thought about running for mayor of Scottsdale?
No, definitely not. My dad was on the city council, and he was vice mayor though. But that experience told me that I really didn't care for politics. Yeah. No. I'd rather be. I've always wanted to be in business since I was in grade school, because that was my bent, and so I had nothing, anything. I played sports in high school. I got recruited to a local community college. That's how bad or good I was. But I was like, that's not what I'm going to do for a living. And it's like, no, this, right? So I went right after a business finance degree, and that's what I always wanted to do. So it probably would have been a good idea to go into real estate in Scottsdale, though. Yeah, back in the day.
When you were at ASU, because you graduated from ASU, right?
Correct.
And was it as much of a party school? Is it ASU got on our map because of obviously because of football, right? And it seems like there's always someone from the Patriots coming from ASU. I think Gronk. Did Gronk go to ASU? Yeah, he went to ASU and his brother.
No, he went to U of A. Or Arizona.
Oh, he went to U of A?
Yeah, he went to U of A.
But was it as much of a party school when you went to ASU?
So was it a party school? I don't know. I was drunk the whole time. I don't know what to tell you. It was enough. Yeah. What I would tell you is that it just depends on how you approached it in terms of that, right? I was there for academic reasons. I didn't join a fraternity. I wasn't part of that scene. So for me, not necessarily and stuff, but I do know that it was a school that a lot of people went to that wanted to get out of the cold, and it attracted people from all over the country. So you got a lot of diversity of geographics around the country, which was cool.
What did you do before mortgage? Because in the 80s, when you graduated college, because you didn't get in the mortgage business until the 90s, right? Till the mid to late 90s, or was it before that?
No, actually, I got in the mortgage business in 1984.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Your
But
LinkedIn only goes back to 1999. That's why. So you're kind of like me in the sense that it's like you get to a point where how long do you want to go back? you
yeah,
know what I
so
mean?
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. You run out of room, but it's like, uh, but when I graduated college, interest rates were 21%. Prime was 21%, right? Mortgage rates were unbelievable. And that all kind of happened, and the big recession happened. Interest rates hiked, interestingly enough, a parallel to today somewhat. But they literally, I mean, they hiked them longer, further, higher. Not maybe as quick, but longer, further, higher. And like all of the on-campus interviews, just everything, just like canceled. There was nothing. You couldn't get an interview when I graduated from college, and I actually went to work for a wholesale precious metals company in their finance department, and that was interesting and stuff. But then actually got a job through an ASU professor that was familiar with a savings and loan that was reopening their mortgage division after shutting it down. Remember when there was savings and loans? And went through a training program with them, and interest rates, were probably fixed rates were 15, 16%. We were selling a 11 and a quarter 3-year ARM portfolio product that was that we would do a 3-2-1 buy downs off of. There was no limit on your contribution, and so you had Charles Keating had Continental Homes here, and he would buy down the interest rate for a 30-year fixed and spend 20 to 25 points doing it, which is crazy. That's when
Talking about the tale of two different industries. It seems like the mortgage industry in the 80s and 90s, even in my career, I mean, I worked with my father in the mid to late 90s, but I don't really count that because I was so disengaged, just as any, son generally is going through college. And I got my undergrad in 95. But so I remember the transition to Calyx Windows and for Windows 95. And I remember at the time, Contour was big from an LOS standpoint. Genesis was big, obviously. And then Ellie Mae was just not even on anyone's radar until about 2001,
Yeah.
And maybe 2001. But it seems different. The industry seems different in the last 3 or 4 years in the way that the industry has adopted in technology. It really wasn't about technology in the 90s or early 2000s, maybe the big push to the Citrix servers and putting everything on Citrix farms.
Exactly. It's also right. 95 was probably LPDU.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
95 and stuff. By 2004, we were running a paperless system with Blitz docs.
Yeah.
That name, but we were completely paperless. We had miles of cabinets empty, no paper. Went completely paperless, and probably by 2005, completely paperless. Which then the advent of the dual screens came about because you had to, because you no longer were flipping through a paper file. You were going between pages digitally, and it was a hard transformation for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Funny as that is.
Yeah, Blitz docs. That's kind of where Doc Magic and the late now Don Ioannidis sort of founded Doc Magic, and that was I used to love going to the conferences with him in his bunny suit. He'd get around. Remember his bunny? He'd wear that full bunny, like rabbit suit, and he would walk the aisles and. What's that?
What was their logo? Right, was the bunny on their logo, I believe. Yeah. So. Yeah.
No, the industry is really it's interesting. Data and analytics has obviously never been more important, right? And it seemed like most of the industry for a long time, up until probably 20. I used to work. Did you know David? Do you know Wholesale Access Research with David Olson? Do you remember David?
I do not.
So as wholesale access research, we used to do the definitive study. So essentially InGenius, as the technical platform, we used to do that study and release it, and lenders would pay us 50 grand, 100 grand for access to this document to do. We did a market share analysis, production analysis. I'll have to send you one of the copies of it. We discontinued that, I think, in 2011, but it was fascinating. Lenders would contract us just to be able to see what was happening in the industry, which loan officers were doing with their volume, what mortgage companies were doing their volume, and all the analysis and margins and tech stacks, and who had the highest, equity and margin and market share for, the LOS market, the CRM market, the POS market really didn't exist at the time. And now it's so simple, right? I mean, not simple for you to create, but it's simple to access if you're a customer of InGenius, to be able to get on it and be able to extract data real time. It's amazing how much that's really evolved.
We're skipping a couple interesting chapters in between there, Jeff. So then in the 2010s, you were very, very early leader and president at Total Expert, right?
Yeah. So I actually, Joe and I met in April of 2012, and actually I was in Minneapolis. I had a regional manager out there. I was in town visiting, and he said, "Hey, I got this guy. He's actually a realtor, but he's starting this new program, and I don't quite, totally understand it and stuff, but I think it has value and stuff." And so we met at in a boardroom at the office in Minneapolis, and he explained to me his whole concept of Total Expert, and it was not totally what I would say formed in a coherent, exact layout. And I was like, "Is this what you're trying to do?" And he's like, "Yeah, you get it." And I was like, "I love it." And I became the first enterprise customer of Total Expert, which was a product called Community Expert, which was a compliant co-marketing system. CRM didn't come until 2017, 16. Yeah, probably 16 started. So first it wasn't even a CRM back in the day. But yeah, joined in 2015 actually with Joe, next to nothing in revenue, and built it. And it was a great experience, obviously, and stuff. It was a lot of fun to do. Learned the playbook, helped get this company started while I was still a Total Expert, and we found product market fit early. And I was like, this sounds like more fun, right? And I had the playbook of how to build it, right? And so we did the same thing, and so here we are, recreating it and stuff. But I still work with Total Expert in terms of Joe and I talk all the time, and compare notes, and we spilled a lot of blood together. You become good friends when you do that.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
That's funny that you were their first enterprise customer. So when I met, I don't know if you know Rick, probably some of this, but the way I met Jeff was when I was helping the very, very early stages of what is now InGenius, and Jeff was on the Total Expert side, kind of helping out as a strategic partner, advisor, friend, lots of things. So that, I guess that makes twice, Jeff, that you've been kind of like a customer at the startup before you go over and kind of run it. Or I guess you ran it with Joe in the case of Total Expert, but you're the CEO at InGenius, so that's fun.
I suppose Go ahead, Rick.
No, go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
No worries and stuff. I was just going to say it was a little different because I was never quite a customer. We were, with InGenius. It was called Six Solutions back then and stuff. But, I got them their first demo that they ever did. And we would co-sell alongside with Total Expert. It was a great partnership because really we're content and they're a distribution system, so it was very symbiotic, and it is still today, and they're still a great partner. But there's something about taking a startup and building it into a company, and then when it becomes more administrative running something, I get less interested, right? So it's about that startup and that adrenaline that goes with it that kind of I find fun. So.
Well, certainly the heavy lifting is on the area where you're good at. It's always a lot easier to take over something that's running well, and I mean, it has its own set of challenges, but there's no question the heavy lifting that goes into starting something, like you said, when you were with Total Expert at near to no revenue to really laying the foundation to what it is today is pretty impressive. It's funny because Total Expert, I don't know Joe very well, but I've only had a couple of conversations with him, but I'm a big fan of the platform, of the CRM. It seemed like I used to always say, before Total Expert came around, I used to always say that the mortgage business was kind of a minefield of just terrible CRMs, or companies that would say that they're a CRM, but they're really not. And Total Expert was really the first CRM that was really native to the business that I felt really got it right. And I think the market's rewarded that just through the market share and the adoption,
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And Joe is extremely driven, and he's extremely focused on, putting out a good product, and he's incredibly intense and continues to be, and they're going to continue to innovate, and they're doing some great things with customer intelligence now, which is a big deal as we start to develop when purchase referrals start, or start within the process. Everybody's trying to move up funnel, right? And so it all becomes down to now monitoring those portfolios and retention of your portfolios. And you see a huge focus on that right now, particularly going into this refi market. The whole retention aspect is just huge.
So do they look at what
data is going to?
So do you think, just from that point, do you think that, because I always ask myself the question, like, why wouldn't InGenius be native or just an extension of the CRM? But given your description of Joe being so intense, so focused, so zeroed in on the CRM space, I could also see him saying, well, that's kind of a distraction to CRM development and CRM, building out the relationship between the loan officer and the consumer. So I guess that does make sense. It's just the market intelligence is so valuable in a solution like InGenius. Is there an integration with Total Expert in a way where you could, in essence, bring forward the data within Total Expert or within InGenius to where it's ready and visible within Total Expert to be able to do either research on other prospective loan officers or just on maybe competitive loan mortgage companies, if my consumer's talking to more than one?
So you are going to more search for that person within InGenius, but then the integration, we send over 40 fields over to Total Expert so that you can action off of those analytics. The other thing that we do is that we rehydrate the database of a loan officer. One, for recruiting, right? You're on the phone with a recruit and you go, hey, I just sent you an email. And they open it up and they go, what is this? What's all this data and stuff? That is your entire database going back to January of 19. And it's everybody you've ever done a loan to in that time. And we've refreshed all your contacts, and the accuracy of those contacts are both email, personal email, and phone number is 86%, and email alone is 91%. And the reason that we get such good contact data on individuals is because the data is so clean and so accurate. One begats the other. Then all of a sudden you say, by the time you walk through the door, we're going to be announcing your arrival at our company and marketing to your customers through the CRM that we have, such as Total Expert. And then we also rehydrate. You can rehydrate your entire company because not all your loan officers were there over the last 5.5 years. So now if you're having somebody that is monitoring they're monitoring your database, right, for different actions that shows they're either going to refinance or purchase, all of a sudden your contract rate is probably around 50% normally. With our ability to update and rehydrate that across your entire company, it drives it up as high as 91%, right? So the ROI of monitoring that portfolio base just shoots through the roof, and it's worth a lot of money, particularly going into this next market. So those are the things that we're focusing on now in the relationship with Total Expert and other monitoring companies. It just creates so much more productivity that it's got a lot of value.
Jeff, is that so? I've been a subscriber for the last 2 companies I've worked with to do things like look at the LO arrival and departure data when people move between lenders, to help with my sales process, to look at things like geographic coverage that loan officers have, agent relationships that loan officers have or that agents have, because all of my jobs in my career have been tying between real estate and purchase mortgage. So your data has been super helpful in all those regards. Yeah. But I've never, is that like a separate product and license or structure where you're selling the consumer level data? Or is that like a different channel or business?
Yeah, that module happens.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's called LoanView Connect, and it is a module that you can also supplement your subscription with us. Cool. We just rolled it out a few months ago, but it's been accepted very, very well in the marketplace. The other thing it does, actually, where it was born is I got a call from a CEO says, I recruited 40 LOs from another company and some of them put their database with them and I'm getting sued. Can you recreate their database? And so, we've just been busy on other things, but we think so. So we looked at it and then we built that for him. He was able to walk in court and go, I got all their databases and it's all public facing data.
Yeah, you can recreate it using.
It got him out of a lawsuit, saved him a lot of money.
Huh. That's pretty amazing. You can create the same database.
Yeah. So out of lawsuits as well. You don't need Mr. Loan Officer, don't take your database, and 2, it's probably not up to date with contacts and emails and different things. So we can refresh all of that, and it's not a huge expense. So
fascinating.
That is incredible. If servicers are trying to capture the business and you're trying to help independent mortgage banks capture the business, does that put sort of a InGenius / Total Expert almost at odds with servicers? Or is it just an even playing field? Like in some ways, servicers should be using the tool to compete at the same level that you're trying to equip the independent mortgage banks to do the same, right? For their own sort of, recapture.
It's always been the case. And yeah, servicers have gotten much better at it, right? They've really improved their ability to recapture their business. And, whose business is it, right? Is it the loan officers or is it the servicers at that point? It's whoever can reach the customer, right? And so with the servicers being better than ever at it, the originators have to up their game, right? Yeah. They got to find a way to up their game. And they by getting accurate data on their customers and getting it into a CRM and actioning off those analytics so you can reach those people for both purchase and refi, right? And this is a method where you can do that. You have better data and you action off of it, and you can do a much better job. And the probably the top 10% of the loan officers, we know that the top 50 do 90% of all the business, right? And the top 10% have really good databases. They have really good databases. The next 40% that need to improve their game, right? And we can do that for them.
And that's pretty much the entire. I mean, most companies. I mean, I would even say even in the top 20 don't do a very good job in data mining. I think the top 10 does a really good job in data mining their past client databases. But it seems like most mortgage companies struggle with that issue. Mm-hmm. Like most, even in the top 30 or top 50, you'd think that they have it, taken care of, but they simply don't.
No, they don't. Do you ever? They don't.
Do you ever foresee InGenius being the kind of the data that you've highlighted on mortgage companies? Do you see a potential to provide the same level of insights on the consumer? Like somehow figuring out whether it's, like I want to generate a list of consumers that have credit scores between 620 and 650, and have a credit feed plug-in. So that way, instead of collecting lists of loan officers and lists of mortgage companies, you're actually data mining lists of consumers who potentially have this much equity in their home. This is when they bought their house. This is how much, this is when their ARM is expiring, or this is when they did their last loan. I mean, is there almost a consumer level of intelligence that you could drill into, or was that just out of the scope of what you guys are currently doing?
No, we have that data also. We have it down to the consumer level into the loan level, right? So we have every recorded loan in the United States. We have access to who the purchasers were, the date they purchased, the product, the title company. We have estimated interest rate on it. And we're drilling down even further to do things like equity and credit score, right? So we have all that data, and we have most of what I said, but the equity. First of all, we know that if you purchased it at a certain time, you probably got equity, unless you've done a home equity loan. But we're drilling down to where we can get equity and FICO score as well. But we have that data today. And where it's particularly interesting is for banks is that we show, like if you go into a majority minority census tract or a low to moderate income census tract, right? And we can stack rank you against your peers, right? To show where you stack rank according to the regulators, 50% below volume, 200% above. And we show it. If you're below the median, you have a problem in that census tract. We can show you all of the realtors that close loans in that census tract, all of the loan officers that close loans in that census tract, and we have all of the consumers that have mortgages in that census tract, right? So we can, with our data, make that entire census tract that's so valuable to you, we can make it like very, very transparent. And you can decide how you want to use that data to be able to market into that and increase your potential and your standing as it relates to the regulators. That we found with the banks is extremely attractive. And then we reverse engineer the data, the D data, so that we can show you month over month how you're doing in those census tracts. You don't have to wait for HMDA, right? And then HMDA is only at the company level. It's not at the individual loan officer level. And it's certainly not at the consumer level.
Got it. Dude, it's incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. The directions that you guys have taken the platform. I know I've been enriched by it, personally, as far as just the amount of data and the insights. You can't manage a company. You cannot manage a company if you can't see it on a very granular level. And you guys really turn on the light so that there's very little darkness in the room of the market, the mortgage market landscape, truly. And you guys are, I think, the most comprehensive solution, that's out there. I mean, there's a lot of competitive. What you guys are doing, it's really interesting because there is a lot of, there's MMI and there's different sort of tools that are out there and different sort of startups that are beginning to crowd the space. But the more features you guys add to this, the higher that mountain is to climb. It almost becomes a financial arms race, right? You know, because you're going to outspend the competition and outbuild the competition to a point where the competition's going to go broke trying to catch up. I mean, there's kind of a real reality to that, you know?
Yeah, that's the SaaS model, right? You grow it as quick as you can. You don't worry necessarily about being profitable. You grow it as quick as you can and develop your product as quick as you can so that you outpace the customer, so you dominate a market. And that's the classic SaaS playbook. And, that's the model that Total Expert looked at from the very beginning. And with that whole thought process in mind, that's how it executed. We intend to do the same here, and we've got a lot more coming that we think will help with that. We want to create it where you don't have to spend a lot of time setting filters and doing things. We want to do it based upon just a chatbot command, right? I want to see all the top 100 originators that do between 20 and 60 million in the Phoenix market that do at least 20% FHA. You just type it in and boom, you get it, right? It comes up. We're going to make it extremely easy. And then we go to voice prompt, right? Where it makes it extremely easy, effortless, right? And that's where we're headed.
That's amazing to think about for any number of use cases, and I think we may need to expand our relationship with you guys on some of the consumer hubs we're building on the real estate side to pair some of this data with it. I know we've already talked about a few things about integration with you guys, but getting all kinds of gears turning. Jeff, how many lenders approximately, or loan officers, if you want to do a seat count, do you guys work with today, like actively?
So we have about 100 logos currently. Wow. And then we run as a platform basis, right? We don't run as, you don't have to have a seat to have access to our data. We believe in, having, a limited number of seats with power users that push out data to everybody in the company. So there's 100 companies and maybe 1,000 seats is currently what we have. But
that 1,000 seats might mean that.
But the effect
10,000 people see the data or what have you. Yeah. Or more. Right. Yeah. That's amazing. I
exactly
love what you guys have been doing. Like I said, I've had every company I've worked at buy it and referred a bunch of people to you guys to the extent I can. I know Rick's done the same. So it's fun to hear about the next steps. That some of that consumer level data is news to me, and got a bunch of gears turning, like I said. So I love to hear how quickly you guys are growing, both product and business.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
So are you
and we're getting to be at a tipping point where. Yeah. Are we out?
No. So are you out of just to go back to the Total Expert? Are you out of Total Expert altogether? Are you a board member? Trying to understand sort of the relationship with Total Expert. Because it seems like that's a really beautiful match between you have customer management and you have customer in like mortgage intelligence and InGenius. It just seems like it's a head with two shoulders.
Yeah, no, my only official relationship with Total Expert is I'm a shareholder, right? But which is probably the best position to have.
Yeah, that's the one you want, I think.
It's a lot less work. It's a lot less work being a shareholder. But like I said, Joe and I talk all the time. We talk about the industry. We talk about what we're doing. But we give each other insights in terms of that. And I consult with Joe all the time. He helps me. I help him. We remain good friends, but my only official position with Total Expert is shareholder.
Yeah. No. Is Joe or is Total Expert like an investor in InGenius?
They are not. No. They use our product, but they don't have any investment in InGenius. Joe does not personally, or Total Expert does not. Yeah.
Can you disclose how much capital you
Someday
raised?
they might want to.
Yeah. Are you doing a round right now, or like where are you in the capital fundraising space? Like, do you mind? Like, I don't know if there's been any press releases. I didn't see any, but that of any sort of rounds that you guys have done, or.
Yeah, we've done no A rounds. We've done some capital raised, not a lot, from mainly from customers, and then me personally.
That's smart.
But we have no VC, we have no private equity, which has made it, making it tougher, to grow at the rate we've done. But and we could have maybe grown faster and stuff with it, but when we started this, and really the pandemic, the first sale was made in September of 2020, so about 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Almost exactly. But then all of a sudden, it's interest rates started going up, right? I mean, we were in the pandemic, so we have no office, have intentions of never having an office, but then all of a sudden the rates started going up, and all of a sudden it was, you couldn't burn the furniture fast enough if you're a mortgage lender. And so we've done all this through the worst of times with no VC capital whatsoever. So it's been, it's probably been harder than it might have been if we hadn't gone through the highest interest rate hike, the quickest in the history. And, also no VC capital drying up. But I think we're going to be a better company for it coming out the other side, right? Like, we ran it lean, we ran hard, we had to do tough things in order to be successful. But we've done that, we've grown, added 100 logos in that time, and then come out the other side. Now we're staring at a situation where, we're not designed to make money, but we're not losing money. And we then now have enough of a base that we can start to, and clearly the vibe is different in the marketplace. It's palpable. People are looking towards the future versus just survival. You can feel that, and we see it in our sales. We see it in what we're closing, our interaction, our pipeline has never been better. We just had came off the best month we've ever had. This will be the best quarter that we've ever had. And so I think that, building a business in the worst of times is the best time to start a business, right? And if you survive that, the upside is fantastic. Yeah. So no, we haven't raised a lot of capital. It's been self-generated, and really self-generated in a lot of ways. And that, now we got to decide, do you want to, right? And so we'll see. It's potential, probably not for another year. We'd like to grow the company, create more value, see the multiples bounce back within the industry. I mean, you're already seeing it as rates dropped. I mean, you can take a bellwether. You get way more punished as a private company or as a public company than you do a private company, right? Because you're real time and people are trading you. And if you just look at, Blend's stock price, right? Their market cap fell below 300 million, right? With the recent rally in the 10-year Treasury and seeing it move to lower interest rates, they're over $1 billion. Right. So, and at one time more than that, but you're going to see their price come back along with other small cap stocks, because they're very interest rate dependent. So I think you're going to see that. I think you see multiples expand again for tech companies. And I think you'll see, the opportunities for raising capital become more lucrative a year from now than it is today. And so that's kind of what we have our sights on.
Yeah, your value, I think, is tremendous, both to mortgage companies. Have you had much success with real estate agencies or title companies buying into the platform? Or is the 100 companies, the 100 logos primarily just servicers and mortgage lenders, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we really don't have servicers. It's more mortgage lenders. We have some MI company, title regulators, right? So we provide data to the CFPB and also to the NCRC, which is a nonprofit that negotiates with big banks that want to merge, and then monitors them. They do community benefit agreements with those companies that get them to commit to certain fair lending and CRA activities, and then they monitor them to make sure that they adhere to them. They use our data for monitoring.
No, that's fantastic. It seems like the sky's the limit as far as anyone in housing and real estate. It seems like is a potential customer, whether you're a builder, whether you're a real estate agent. You ever thought about doing a per user per month, like for real estate agents or those people? Especially there's a million realtors out there, plus or minus, right? And potentially there could be a lot more minus, depends on where the market goes. But it seems like that could be a good tool for real estate agents.
Yeah, no, it can be, and particularly for brokers who are looking to recruit realtors. And so we've had some of those discussions, but we've really stuck to an enterprise model in terms of what we're doing. But we do feel that there is room to move towards individual licenses. But we want to really, really take on that market and be as successful as we want to be at it. We want to make it to where the interface with our product is so easy. It would be hard not to and stuff. Any technology, we learned this at Total Expert, right? Like 10 to 15%, if you're lucky, are going to log into your system, right? And so our best practice at Total Expert was always, have your loan officer assistant log in, or the marketing department does it for you, not the loan officer. And we do that today with our platform. We say, as a company, you need to, set views for your originators for their market and for your branch managers for recruiting. And you need to set those views, and then it just gets updated and pushed out automatically to those people each month. They don't want to log into anything, right? They want to talk to customers. That's what they want to do. And so, making it effortless is how you're going to take on that market in a significant way that is going to be able to allow you to scale it so that it makes sense for you to spend time on it, right? You have to make it productive, and so we do it today. We reach loan officers clearly, but we do it on an enterprise basis through their company. But with ease of use, we plan on making it much more ubiquitous with loan officers out there in the marketplace.
Yeah, no, to me, it's an invaluable tool, and there's no question. Look, and your support staff, Verant especially, I've worked a tremendous amount with. Even for those who might be a little bit intimidated by the platform or by working in Tableau, it's kind of like it was hard at first, but because of the support levels with Verant and the accessibility of the team, it once you get it, then you know exactly where to go all the time to refresh the data, to be able to get the information you want really quickly. My number of support calls with Verant was high initially, but then it just dropped to next. Then we were just doing innovative stuff like, have you thought about looking at this way? I'm not really sure. Let's just see. And And then all of a sudden we were having fun with it to see exactly what we could discern with the platform. It's immeasurably. No, I would never take a mortgage executive seriously in this business if they didn't have really an in-tuned, finite sense of the market and be able to see it and to use a tool like InGenius to be able to see it. Because if they don't, they just kind of fly by the seat of their pants. It's just simply not a good strategy. It's just not a good strategy at all. Well, I know. Any closing comments, Brock?
Yeah,
I know I asked a lot of questions with Jeff, and Jeff, you as well. Any closing comments on your end?
I was just gonna say, I love what they've been building out.
Is that for Brock?
I'll go for a second, Jeff, and then you take us away. I got connected with John Smith really early when he was first working with Dan and Greg, and Jeff was helping them get going. And from day one, there was immediate value to just informing certain things. But I think it's really hard it would have been really easy to be a company that just helped recruiters, or a company that just helped branch managers understand the relationships that their loan officers have, or, like one or two use cases, right? You actually probably could have built a good business that way. So I give you guys unlimited credit for how many different, I'm hearing of use cases I never heard of today on this call, right? Hopefully our listeners are too, and they all reach out to you guys and talk to yourself and John and Greg and Brant. It's been nothing but, like I said a couple times already, every company that I've worked at has used it in very different ways and gotten value out of it. So I think it's pretty remarkable to see how many different use cases you guys have created and how many different pieces of data you guys have pulled together, because even the base layer of the HMDA data and understanding a little bit about agent and LO relationships was, something that hardly anyone had. And now you guys are, I don't know how many layers past that, hundreds of layers past that for the people like Rick that are making really difficult decisions about, recruiting, growing, shrinking, picking markets, all these things. So I, just nothing but praise from me on what you guys have built and continue to build. There's a reason I had some of my friends and colleagues invest really early on, and I've been an advisor since really early on. It's been fun to be a very small part of the ride.
Yep.
And so, thrilled you came on.
Yeah. Closing comments, Jeff?
It's been a good run and going to be even better. Yeah, it's been a good run. It's going to be even better with the things that we've got planned. A lot of what you speak of, Brock, that we've developed came from our customers, right?
Yeah.
So we get the feedback from the market itself, and it's the most successful way to do it, to iterate. But we're going to continue to innovate. We're going to continue to drive value in the marketplace. It's so much fun to have all this data and figure out ways to make it productive and action off of it. It's like making data fun. I didn't see that coming. I really didn't.
Yeah.
But we're happy to be here, and we're excited about the marketplace. Thank you for having me on today. Enjoyed it very much, despite some of the technical difficulties.
Live shows are never perfect, but looking forward to seeing you at MBA Annual, HousingWire, IMB, probably elsewhere.
Yeah, I look forward to it. We'll see you soon. Thank
I'll
you
be
again.
at everything.
That's the right answer. Thanks, Jeff.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Take care, guys.